Dobrodošli na četvrti deo, odnosno peti i šesti deo našeg Hare Krishna. Welcome to the last part of our Gita for Your Success seminar. We have fifth and sixth part today, and it's called Become a Trusted Authority and Start a Spiritual Revolution. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the third chapter, Krishna says, Yadyada charati shreshtas tatade vetaro jana sayat pramanam purute lokas tadanvartate. Whatever a great man does, other people follow, and whatever standards he sets by his exemplary acts, the whole world pursues. So, to become a trusted authority or friend or advisor or a counselor is any kind of trusted authority is something that most of us meet in life sooner or later. If you never get any kind of a leadership responsibility or a position, at least people become parents, and most people have experienced that they have to take responsibility and lead or coordinate or serve people by leading as a servant leader. So becoming a trusted authority is beneficial in spiritual life and also in business. In any area of life, actually, if we learn these principles of trust and becoming a trusted authority are beneficial. In order to be trusted by people, one has to become trustworthy. This means he has to not demand trust, but command trust. That by his qualities, by his dealings, by his example, by his consistency, integrity, this person actually earns the trust of other people. Trust is the most important ingredient in any relationship. Like if a man and woman meet, in the beginning there is passion, there is physical attraction, and maybe some mental attraction, emotional attachment. But after some time, all these things actually fall away, and what remains is trust. If there is a trust between a man and a woman, they will stay together for a long time and help each other. So, now, if we examine trust, or if we learn about trust from different sources, both from the spiritual sources and professional sources, then we actually can learn very methodically and systematically how to build trust. If someone's trust is important to us, then there is a way how to build trust. There are things that actually increase trust, and there is things that decrease trust. So somebody who wants to become a trusted authority, he will do things that increase trust, and he will avoid things that decrease trust. One very obvious principle of building trust is making and keeping promises. If one is always making excuses why he is not keeping a promise, people will not trust him. His excuses may be very nice, very good.
Can I ask them to keep quiet? Do you want me to ask them to keep quiet?
But they left now.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be good if they're aware that because they're just speaking freely and then it becomes too loud. But now they have left to the kitchen, so I don't hear them anymore. Maybe they will not.
I can also bring you a glass of water if you want.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Glass of water would be good, thank you. But you can tell them, so just if Markandeya is aware, then he will keep everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is one obvious thing that increases trust. If we always keep our promise, people will trust us And there is something metaphorically described as a trust bank account. So there is deposits and there is withdrawals. Can you please close the door?
Sorry.
There is deposits and withdrawal, and one deposit is actually making and keeping promises. Maybe the most important deposit in building trust is actually understanding. If we understand people deeply, understanding doesn't mean that you agree with them, but people have a need to be understood. Even if you don't agree, but at least you understand what they mean, you understand where they're coming from. And then they see that they can trust you. Another very important is confidentiality. If they know, if they speak to you, that it will remain between two of you, and it will not go outside on the internet or to other people, then they know that they can speak very openly to you. And to me, trust of people is very precious. So, if we make a mistake and have a breach of trust, then we should apologize and we should feel very genuinely sorry for that we have broken trust or confidentiality. So trust of a trusted person or trusted authority is important. Trust of other people is important. Now when we speak of trust of a leader, we also speak about his trust in God. If the person trusts in God, then he is more likely to be a trustworthy person. He is more likely to be trusted and to trust others. Trusted authority, thank you very much. Trusted authority actually is somebody who also trusts people. He gives trust, not only commands trust. He's not only a person who inspires people to trust him, but he also gives trust. And sometimes trust is is a risk. You trust somebody, entrust them with something. And it's a risk because you sometimes don't know how much somebody is trustworthy. So you have to think and discriminate and sometimes make risks. But people who are trustworthy usually are they're quite ready to give trust to other people. And when you believe in someone, it's very powerful. It's amazing. When you believe in someone, that they can do something, that they are sincere, it means a lot to people. And now, if you see people as souls, then it's easier to believe them, because you know that they have this amazing potential, that you know they are the part of God, and that they are actually amazing. Bhagavad Gita says in the 2nd chapter that the soul is amazing. So, if you understand the original quality of the soul, which means every person, then you can trust in them, you can believe in them, and you can believe in their potential, you can believe in their qualities, you can believe in their integrity, their sincerity, their original purity. And when you tell people these things, it actually helps a lot. A large part of my service in having coaching sessions with people, mainly one-to-one, is to tell them you are a spirit soul. You are Satchitananda, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. You are an amazing person. You have amazing potential. You have amazing qualities. But you are not using them, or you're not aware of them. So when you tell people that you see something in them that is wonderful, then it helps them to awaken that, or to discover that, or to use it. It's something that most people need, actually. Many people lack self-confidence, and when somebody recognizes their worth and potential, then they get more confidence. People are unsure, uncertain, and because we are living in the material world, then it's not to wonder that people have lack of self-confidence. First of all, people don't know who they are. So how can they be confident that I'm very confident because I have some muscles? But your muscles will be broken in a few years or in a few decades. You will not have these muscles, so you can have confidence in your muscles. So we can be self-confident if we don't know what is the self. When we understand what is the self, then we can actually be confident. And self is the soul, the part of God. Someone who believes in God and is assured of His protection, he's actually free from fear. This confidence has to do with fear also. If we don't have faith, then we become fearful. We become a victim of the whims of the material energy who will be tossing us left and right and kicking us up and down in this material world. But one who is connected, Bhagavad Gita says, one who is not connected to the Supreme, he cannot have peace, he cannot have happiness, he cannot attain the final destination. Na sukham na param gatim, na sasidim na vapnoti, na sukham na param gatim. So this connection with Krishna actually gives confidence and gives us a sense of being protected by Krishna. And then you can become fearless. In Sanskrit it's called akutobhaya, one who is free from fear. And then you can also instill fearlessness in other people, or you can help them awaken their original fearlessness. So as a trusted authority, you want to show people that you have their best interest at heart. You want to show people that you care about them. You want to tell people that you are always there for them, you're always there for them to serve them when they need, to help them succeed. You want to help them find solutions that exactly meet their needs. Imagine you have somebody who comes to you and says, I want to help you to find solutions that exactly meet your needs. This is practically like an irresistible offer because everybody wants to meet their needs and everybody is looking for solutions, and if you have somebody who will help you to do that, then you feel very inspired and very attracted to that. It's very natural. Becoming a trusted authority also means being patient and tolerant with people. Sometimes people are going up and down, sometimes people would insult you. One leader, he was complaining to me, he said he wanted to deal with the followers in the same way they deal with him. And I said, but this is what makes you a leader, that you don't react in the same way as they do. You are more tolerant, more patient. You are ready to sacrifice for them. So, Srila Prabhupada says that every responsible officer will be criticized by his subordinates, the very people that he or she serves. He gives an example of Lord Brahma, who was criticized by the gopis. They complained why Lord Brahma is the original creator in the universe, why he created eyelashes, because when they blink, they can't see Krishna in that fraction of a second when they are blinking. So they said, why did you do that? This is not good. So they criticized him. So if you become a parent, if you become a boss in a company, if you become any kind of a responsible person, a manager, then you will be criticized by the people you serve and by the people you lead. But you should not give up your duty and your service. Because renunciation of something that is unpleasant is actually a renunciation of our duty when something is unpleasant is actually renunciation in the mode of passion, described in the Bhagavad Gita. So if you stick to your duty and try to do your best, then gradually people will understand that they can trust you and they will take your guidance and take your leadership. This world needs a lot of spiritual leaders. And nowadays there is so many teachers, success teachers, spiritual leaders, and they are teaching people how to be happy, but most of them are actually impersonalists. They don't mention God, they mention love, they mention peace, they mention spirituality, but they don't mention God and service to God. So for us, followers of the Bhagavad Gita, spirituality means God and service to God, and loving service to God. So we want to serve Krishna. For us, this is the meaning of spirituality. For some people, spirituality might mean some kind of goodness, or friendship, camaraderie, but actually, this, according to the Bhagavad Gita, this life is meant for self-realization and God realization. So now, Srila Prabhupada describes in the Bhagavad Gita that the leader has to have two qualities, or the trusted authority has to have two qualities. One is to be a good example himself, so to behave properly, and in order to lead, and another is to know the revealed scriptures, to provide guidance based on the standard books of knowledge given by higher authorities. So we don't speculate how to lead people, we lead them based on the leadership of the previous acharyas. So these are two main qualities of a trusted authority. He knows something, and he's a good example. So in order to be trustworthy, a person has to show character and competence. Character and competence. Character means his behavior is kind, and he's very friendly, his character is good, he has good motives, and he's caring. He cares, he sincerely cares about people. And then competence means that he's able to do something and he knows something. He knows what is to be done, what is not to be done. He knows the scriptures, he knows which direction we should go. He knows how to guide people, how to direct people. Imagine you have a dentist and he's a very nice guy. And when you come to his, his surgery, you can say, or dental office, he's very, he gives you a wonderful seat, he gives you some juice, he hugs you and asks you, how is your wife and child? And you just feel so comfortable with him. He's such a nice guy, very caring. But when he does your teeth, somehow or another, he always takes out the wrong tooth. So can you trust him? He's well-intentioned, but competence is not so good. And there is another one who is an excellent. He's very expert in fixing your teeth. He knows newest techniques, he has newest materials, newest tools. He's very expert. But on the other hand, he's often late. He often charges you more than he said he will charge you. He's sometimes very rude. So, this caring side is not so good. So, would you trust him? How much would you trust him?
That would be very difficult, but More than the first one.
Huh?
More than the first
More
one.
than
More than the first one. Yeah, because he's competent. Okay. So, but in order to trust anybody, one has to, these two conditions have to be fulfilled. Character and competence. Character and competence. So this is what a trusted authority has. He's caring, and he also knows what he's talking about. He knows how to do things. Maybe you had experience that the friend comes to you and they are crying and you really sympathize. Say, oh, I'm really sorry you're suffering, and you hug them and you just feel their pain. But you have no idea how to help them. You don't know how to help them. You don't know how to systematically talk to them to help them maybe reveal more what is bothering them, or find the real deep cause of their pain or their suffering. What is actually the issue behind the issue, behind the issue, behind the issue. And so you're caring but you're not competent. And somebody may be very competent but very cold and very clinical. And so again, we wouldn't like to come to that person to be our helper. So therefore, one who wants to be a trusted authority, he has to fulfill both conditions. So in spiritual life, that's very obvious, that spiritual people have to be trustworthy. In business, if you do any kind of services or products, then how you deal with your customers, how you care, how you invest in relationships, how you promote things, how you show the benefits. Imagine that people have so much trust in you that they know, if I call this person, he will do his best that I get my needs met. There is an example in one book of a man who looked for a suit that he can use for the TV program. And he came to a shop and asked for a certain type of suit, certain color. And the man looked and he saw he doesn't have it. But the man who wanted to buy a suit, he actually was ready to buy it from in that shop. Now this man was very honest, and he knew the power of trust. He sent him to a competitor across the road. He said, he has the exact suit that you need. Now you can imagine where this guy is buying suits his whole life. He's not buying on the other side of the road, he's buying with this guy. So basically he made more money by not selling one suit than by selling one suit. He could have sold one suit but then lost the customer, but he actually lost one suit and he sold probably 10 more suits, or even he got referrals from the same customer and he sent his friends, his relatives, his colleagues, he sent to buy from this wonderful salesman. Another story, the guy is coming to a shop very eager to buy the best bicycle for his son. Like super mountain bike with so many gears. These bikes, they're super expensive. So he was ready and he told the salesman, he said, I want to buy the best bike for my son. I want to make you a super pleasant surprise. Boy is wonderful in the school. He's doing well in the school. He's well behaved at home. I really want to reward him. And the man saw, wow, he is ready to spend probably $1,000 or something like that. But this guy was amazing, the salesman. He could have sold him the most expensive bike. And what he did, he said, look, yes, you like this expensive bike, but I have something better for you. And he brought him to another bike, who was a little bit less fancy, but it has an insurance, so if his son hits something, it gets paid. Then the bike had some other features that the first one didn't have, and nobody knew that. And it was much cheaper. It was much cheaper. So just imagine how much trust this guy got from the customer, this salesman. And you can imagine that this man would come again and again and again to buy next year his son maybe will be buying, his relatives, friends, he would send people, make referrals, refer people to him. And by one honest sale, he gains so much business. But he was thinking, what is best for my customer? What is the best for my customer? So the best is that he gets the best deal. Now, salespeople will always tell us, you're getting the best deal for me, but it's not always true. Even our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, says that salespeople always say, I'm not making any money on you. But both sides know it's not true. So in this way, one can actually, one can gain trust of people and have a long-term relationship. So trust means a long-term relationship. If you have trust, you can have a long-term relationship. If there is no trust, you cannot have a long-term relationship. So Krishna wants us to become trusted authorities. And if people can trust you, that you are both caring and knowledgeable person, as a devotee, as a professional, then they will come to you and they will ask you, what can I do to improve my life? I mean, you are such a happy person, you seem to understand what's happening, you are swimming well in the stream of life, and please guide me or help me or ask me questions or do something. And for us, people's request to serve them is very precious, because it's an opportunity for us to please God and to help these people and to make advancement also. Now, if you read the scriptures, you will find so many trusted authorities like Mahajans. Mahajans are 12 authorities for Bhakti Yoga or devotional service or Bhagavad Dharma. Swayambur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilomanu Pralada Janaka Bhishmo Balir Vyasa Kirvayam. 12 authorities that are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. These are 12 main authorities, trusted authorities in the whole universe, are Lord Brahma, Narada, Shiva, 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, and Bali Maharaj, Vyasaki, Shukadev Goswami, and Yamaraj. So their teachings, their activities are described mainly in the Bhagavatam, also in other like Mahabharata. But they're the top authorities from whom we learn. Now, Shukadeva Goswami, he's actually speaking the Bhagavatam, so the whole Bhagavatam is speaking, but he's also quoting and describing the stories and the pastimes and the teachings of the other Mahajans, great authorities, great souls. And Srila Prabhupada for us is the 13th Mahajan, sometimes devotees say. He has actually introduced all the Mahajans to us, so he is our trusted authority. He has given us knowledge, given us guidance, given us books, and also given us a lot of care. He has shown both character and competence. So we want to follow somebody who is trustworthy. Yeah. One friend said, how do you know this is true? He said, well, it makes sense to me. It's not that I like everything. Like when I was reading First Krishna book, there is so much about Krishna and how he's enjoying and everything. And so I didn't like it in the beginning. Because, every one of us likes to be in the center, and when we see that somebody is so much in the center, then we think, oh, this position is already taken. So, but it makes sense. It makes sense that we made a mistake and we came here. It makes sense that there is a supreme controller and that there is a supreme intelligence. All these things. So how do we know that something is true? Well, we can try and see if what the instructions, when we apply them, instructions when we apply them, they work, and does it make sense, the whole explanation and everything. And there is so many things that really, really impress us. Like if you go to the Facebook, people put some amazing quotes, and and then when you look at the Vedas, there is amazing quotes, and some of them we understand. But the whole thing about being very clear about what's happening here and who is in charge, that's very clear in the Bhagavad Gita and in other books. And it's in our best interest to actually cooperate with God, because He is our best well-wisher. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. He is the best well-wisher. So Krishna is the topmost trusted authority, and He is giving His word in the Bhagavad Gita and through other scriptures. His devotees are our trusted authorities, and we want to become a trusted authority in whatever we do. Trusted friend, trusted advisor, trusted guide in whatever we do. Now people, you may say, well, I'm too young, I can't do that. But actually, when I joined, I wasn't so young, I was 25, and I think in 2 years, after 2 years, they gave me responsibility. And you know, coming from a background of life that is not very responsible, I didn't actually complete my studies, I didn't go to the army, I didn't work. I was trying to find myself, and my parents kindly and patiently waited that I find myself, put a little pressure on me, which is good. And then I found this, and I said, I have to try this and see how it goes. And then I never left, never came back to the old life. But people come to Krishna consciousness, and after 1 or 2 years, they become authorities. You get promoted. You become like a temple president. And then what do? I mean, you didn't have any training. You have no idea. You can't lead yourself. Now you have to lead other people, become a spiritual leader. But what we can do is just accept it as service and do our best, and then learn as you go. Learn as you go, you know. So now in our movement, more and more we have more training, leadership training. We have coaching, developing, hopefully more for leaders also. But we always are in a position to take some responsibility, to teach somebody else. Each one teach one by being taught by one. So we're always student and a teacher at the same time. But if we take responsibility for the mission, then we can actually become a leader, we can lead. And the best leader is one who is a very good follower. Now sometimes people, they actually hide behind being a follower. They say, I'm not qualified to be a leader. This is a very nice way to avoid responsibility. I can't be a leader. And many people, they are very expert in telling leaders what's wrong with them and what they are doing wrong. But when you ask them, would you like to show us how to do this? They say, no, I'm not qualified. So they want to fix everybody except themselves. And that's not really actually very fair, I would say. That's not very impressive, that you want to fix everyone and you don't want to take responsibility. Krishna, if you criticize leaders, Krishna will usually make an arrangement that you get asked to lead and show how to do it. I was like this. My TP was as he was, temple president. My temple president was as he was, and then I was thinking, I was just criticizing. I wasn't thinking I would do better. But in 2 years, they said, now you open the center. And then I was thinking, now I'm in his position, so what am I going to do? And then I saw that it's not easy, and then I was criticized. I was criticized, and I had to defend myself sometimes, or had to admit I'm wrong, etc., etc. So we have an opportunity to show by example how to be a leader and how to be a trusted authority. There is so much responsibility to take in this world. If you are, if you are walking on the street and there is a paper on the pavement and you pick it up, you are a leader. Because you are taking initiative to make a positive change. Somebody see it, they say, wow, he's doing this. I wouldn't do it. I'm too lazy, I'm too critical, why others are not cleaning. And this man is taking responsibility, picking up the paper. I know an actress from London, she told me, when I walk the street, I pick up the paper. Because I think this is God's creation, it's my responsibility to clean the city, not, local services or government. I want to be a responsible citizen, and because I'm conscious of God and everything is His creation. What are you doing?
Drawing.
You're drawing?
Yeah.
So you're bored or what?
No, it's I'm always like this.
You're always like this. You always draw during the class.
Yeah, and I draw you.
You're drawing me. Then I guess I should surrender to that. But I think
But if it
I think it's not
disturbs
easy.
you, I
It's
will,
not easy
I will
to.
not do it. If
Okay.
it disturbs you, I will not
It
do
disturbs me. Thank
okay,
you.
sorry.
You just delete everything.
Huh?
Just delete everything whatever is drawn.
No, she doesn't have to delete.
It's not digital, luckily. She can still keep them.
She can do whatever she likes, but I don't think you can listen attentively and draw, because I felt you are not here anymore. So if you want to draw, you can draw, but maybe don't do it here or something. You can do it somewhere else. But it's difficult to hear even if you concentrate what to speak if you do something else. I don't know. Maybe you can do two things.
It
But
said that women can do that.
Okay,
Good things at the same time. I can do
Yeah, that's true.
2 or 3 things at the same
I
time.
agree. Yeah,
I can repeat what you told.
multitasking.
He was talking about picking up.
Okay,
Okay, but he's a man, so he
I believe you.
wants to be just attentive to one thing.
Okay.
For him.
But you see, you were looking at somebody else, so then you were looking at her.
Yeah, but I'm listening with this ear.
But
Really drawing?
you didn't even notice that she's drawing you.
No?
And did you notice that I drew you?
I have no idea.
I did 3 tastes. Yesterday. and-
Okay, let us not get distracted. Let not get into discussions. Just let's continue. So anyway, thank you for this stuff. So now I want to just conclude this first part. We'll have a little break now, and then continue with the second part about the spiritual revolution. But to conclude, that I want to stress that how much it is important to become a trusted authority. How much it is important to take responsibility in life, in any area of life. You see, when you take responsibility, then actually you get a relief. Many people think, if I take responsibility, it will be a burden. It will get harder. But actually, resisting responsibility is a burden that creates stress. So, taking responsibility for being a good example, taking responsibility to serve people, taking responsibility to support others, taking responsibility to take care of yourself. All these things increase trust. And trust is the most precious ingredient in all relationships. If you think about anything long term, you have to apply the principle of trust. You have to apply the principle of trust. So, it is such a precious principle. And of course, I always refer to the previous sessions, so they are related, they can help actually. If you ask excellent questions, it helps building trust. If you use positive language, your language is always kind and sweet, and supportive, it builds trust. If you release your mind's potential, how do you use your mind's functions and optimize them? It also builds trust. Then if you have a giver's heart, I mean, people trust givers because they know these people care. So all these previous 4 sessions that we had, you can actually apply to this principle of trust. They're interrelated. Now, what about self-trust? That will be the last point for this session. Self-trust, self-confidence. I discriminate material self-confidence and spiritual self-confidence. So material self-confidence is a confidence in your ability. Material abilities, like you have muscles, you can lift weights, you have intelligence, material intelligence, you can calculate, for example, something, you can, some maybe very complicated mathematical equations, you have maybe technical knowledge in something, so you have material competence, you know different things, materially speaking, and then you have this confidence. And these material abilities can actually initiate pride, false pride. And then spiritual confidence is a trust in your own sincerity to serve and love God. Spiritual confidence is trust in your own sincerity to serve and love God. Now, if you look at the competence side of confidence, you may also develop different spiritual competencies. Like, for example, you are very good at chanting japa, or the holy name. You hear well, you do it very well. You're good at studying scriptures, so you're confident about knowing scriptures, teaching scriptures. You have confidence in different competencies. But confidence in your basic motive and character is the beginning of everything. So, do you really want God, or you want some mixture between God and his illusion, his illusory energy? So we can build self-trust by making and keeping promises to ourselves. We all know we make New Year resolutions, Janmashtami resolutions, Ekadashi resolutions, Monday resolutions, Nrsimha appearance resolution is coming. So, and we say, from that day I'm going to be a better devotee, more self-disciplined, more focused, more kind to others. We make plans how we are going to improve. So we all have experience making a promise and not keeping it. And then feel bad about ourselves. We feel bad about ourselves. But when you make a promise to yourselves and you keep it, then your trust in yourself increases. So it's a very simple way to build self-trust. Make a promise and keep it. Don't make promises that are too hard. Don't make promises that are too easy. But make promises that will stretch you but not break you. In this way you can grow. So these are some of the points about trusted authority. I can speak for many hours, but we had only 1 hour. And do you have 1 or 2 questions before we have a break? Yes?
It was interesting that you just mentioned this last part about self-confidence, and sometimes for me it's a struggle to feel or understand when it's about arrogance and when it's about serving God. And I suppose when the ability and responsibility is given by God to you, to anyone, then also the trust comes with it. That's okay, it's now your own duty, your responsibility to do this. It's not about you, it's about what I am telling you as God to get involved with, to do.
Right.
And so I wonder how much is, of course, the pure intention is very important, that you ask that you are not guided by your ego in that matter. But at the same time, the thing or the feeling of pushing of urgency in you to get involved in a kind of leadership sometimes could be a matter of false self, and how then we can be alert about that and not to push it from our side, but be open enough to receive guidance when it is about responsibility and when it is about doing something that at that moment must be done by you. So it's taking responsibility. That's my sometimes my not really struggle, but sometimes a little question. How can I know that? Stay open at the same time. Stay open for guidance and taking responsibility, but at the same time not give in to the false self.
It's very simple. You just make sure your motives are right.
Okay, intention, okay.
Yeah? Okay. Just make sure your motives are right. It's a very important question. And I'm really happy you mentioned this, because I didn't speak about it in this presentation. Maybe some others I speak about it. But
you did very short when you talked about the
I mentioned about being instrument.
Yeah, indirect. Yes.
Because you reminded me of this very important point. To become a trusted authority, basically we become a representative of God and an instrument in His hands. That's the most trusted authority. So Krishna says to Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhava savya sachin. You become an instrument in my hands. He said, they're already killed. Even if you don't take part, they're finished. But if you take part, you make advancement. So we have an opportunity to become representatives of God, to become an instrument in His hands. And that's for us a great honor and very purifying and very beneficial. And we should take the chance. But we should make sure our motives are right, that I want to please God, serve God. And if in between you get some fame, it's okay. If you get some fame, recognition, money, whatever you get, but don't start thinking, oh, I'm so great. Because people will praise you. I mean, people tell me things that you would faint when you hear. Positive things. If people tell you such things every day, I mean, you would start to melt or start to think, I'm a little God. These are such an amazing... I mean, just because I'm trying to help them, they're telling me things that people would just dream of. But I still have not fallen into a trap of thinking that this is true. Somebody calls you some wonderful word and you think, wow, finally somebody recognizes that I'm like this. I always felt I am like this, but nobody ever recognized it. So I say thank you, but actually it's not my credit. It's Prabhupada saved me, Krishna gave me everything, even head was not right. And now I'm an extended hand of their care, and you are getting actually their care through me. It's not me. I don't care about anybody. I'm still very selfish, but I'm trying to serve them. They're beautiful, and so it's their credit. And then I feel that I protected myself from false prestige, from false pride, from arrogance, from being puffed up that I'm great, and it's okay. Okay, so let us have a 5 minutes here. Okay, 10-minute break. So please come at 7:15. You can go to the bathroom or drink water, and I will stay here and play. And those who want to stay with me, we can sing together. But those who need a break, you can go and walk and.
Can I just say one more thing?
Oh yes.
Because you mentioned the first time you read you didn't like something, that Krishna is in the center. My son often says that why do they have to brag about themselves, like Krishna, that I'm the way, Jesus, I'm the way, I'm the light, only through me. Why do they always have to say that? If they were so good, they wouldn't have to tell everybody.
So how do you respond to their son?
Yeah, it's difficult.
What did you tell him?
That in a way he's right, that is true, that they don't have to tell everybody because they are, but some people don't recognize and they have to have some indication. But I also sometimes feel like they should little bit.
You see, the reason why you feel like this, I think, is because you can't hear them speak. Because the mood behind this is not like a mood of a puffed up person. Krishna is super humble, although he's God. Jesus is super humble, although he's God. But they have to wake up people and they have to draw their attention and tell them, look, I'm the way. And Krishna is not bragging. Whatever he says is true. He says I'm the Supreme Personality of God. He says I control everything, and it's all true. But if Jesus says I'm the way, he's drawing their attention to the way he's proposing, because he's proposing a way to God. So as a representative of God, he is the way to God, and it's true. So it's just a reality. But he's not like he putting his nose in the air and saying, you all bow down to me. He was washing the feet of people. He was very humble.
And
Wait, just a second. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, yes?
I think I'm reading something and I'm having absolutely the same feeling like you had. You shared the feeling that when you read
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, just you liked it at all not. And I have a feeling because I read the Bible, and for a certain moment Jesus is very close for me because he's not perfect, and he's dealing with people who are not perfect, like Peter who is saying I'm your servant, and later he freed.
What do you mean Jesus is not perfect?
No, I'm meaning with Jesus dealing with people who are not perfect.
Okay.
Like Peter,
Yeah.
When he said, I will be your devoted, and Jesus said for him, hey, just the rooster will not sing and you will 3 times betray me or refuse me. And you find yourself in this position because, but when I read about Krishna, for me it's like such a big distance. Because he is so perfect, he is having pleasures, he is having wealth, he is this, and you cannot reach him. This
That's
is
true.
It was a different time.
You can reach Krishna.
Pakistan.
Krishna is reachable. He makes himself available through his holy name, through the scriptures, through the service. The more you serve Krishna in various ways, the more you feel close to him and the more you feel that he is present. And the more you try to... Actually, it is said that 1 step you go towards God, he goes 10 steps towards you.
Yeah, but try to understand what I feel. Sometimes when I read, I feel that he enjoys, he is having always happy, always this and this, and then you think, why I'm not happy? Or So he is abundant, and when you think, yeah, still financial problems with this, and I understand, I'm trying to give as possible as I can, but still when it comes up to get into street or this and that, yeah, so when you think, okay, what is, yeah, so you feel like,
Do you want a different example?
no,
Because
it's
promising Krishna, if you self-realize, then you would exactly feel like me. Or live like me. It's about self-realization.
Lena, Krishna is inviting us to join him in his enjoyment. He's inviting us. Krishna is inviting us.
He's not only showing off like, hey, look at me, no, I'm fine, you are not.
He's showing his pastimes to attract us to join him, because we are trying to enjoy separate from him, and that's our mistake. So he's inviting us, please join me and be happy. If you join God, then you will not have financial problems, you will not have emotional problems, you will not, because Krishna is giving everything. You know, he's a rich father. Well, we are leaving the rich father and we want to do our own thing.
But if I'm having these problems, so it's meaning that I don't understand him. Is
Yeah.
it, is
Yes.
it,
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
I'm doing absolute wrong in the
Well, you're
relation-
not completely, I mean, you're Krishna conscious to some extent, but you have to learn more, you have to develop more faith in Krishna and have more realizations that he is there, he wants to help you. And then you will feel more connected. Okay?
So it's a long way to go.
Problem's always there. Eh?
Problems?
Always there. Even if you're in Krishna consciousness. Once I heard that they said in Krishna consciousness life is difficult. In material life it's not possible. So it's still, I mean, life is not easy.
So we will now, actually, we said we will have a little break, then we can continue after the break, and with the second topic. During the break, so we can have a break, but I will sing.
End it. That's the problem with promotion. It's not promotion.
Govinda, call them? 7:15.
Time goes fast, eh?
Huh?
Time goes so fast now.
Yeah, actually because we spoke, then it became...
Come back.
Oh my Lord, please help me now. It's very hard to be with this feeling strong and pain so deep that it is tough mind's peace to keep. I never felt like this before. It's hard to stand it anymore. Or shall I go away from here and never come so close again? Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all. Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all. It must be something from before. I can't explain it, not at all. Such a thing was never seen in my life's very stormy sea. Our Lord, you know which love is pure. Surely know what's the best cure. Tell me kindly what to start now that my heart is torn apart. Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all. Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all. Oh, mighty Lord, you know the pain inside my soul. Oh, mighty Lord, let me know what's best for all.
Yesterday the second song I liked the most. The Krishna.
Which one?
Second.
The melody or Mahamantra?
Melody. You had 3 different melodies, and the second of the same mantra, and the second was the greatest for me.
Actually, I don't remember which one it is, but can you remember the melody?
It was very modern melody, from some pop music.
No, I don't know if he's recording it. Ikshvaku. Anybody can call Ikshvaku? Or somebody?
And where is it written that if we make one step, it doesn't make sense that's the way it is?
I can find it for you. Somewhere in the Bhagavatam, I think. Srimad Bhagavatam. But Srila Prabhupada, I mean, our spiritual master, he always quotes previous acharyas. So, especially such like specific examples. So, these examples that he gives are usually from the previous acharyas and this coming to the succession.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
For me, it's difficult to chant on japa, on these beats, but I can chant whole day without nothing. Is it that okay?
It's okay. You can also learn to chant on japa. Може да кажеш бакта малходнику да прича тише. Ovo nije uključeno, tako nije uključeno.
Si isključio ti?
Nisam isključio. A to je bilo uključeno sve vrijeme?
Da, snima. Pošto si svirao, snima.
Okej. Ali smo i pričali još. Kad mogu si sjećao.
Može se ovoga sjećati.
Da. Okay, so let us continue with our second part. It's called Start a Spiritual Revolution. And of course, we start any revolution with ourselves. First start a revolution in our own lives. If we want to make a revolution in the world, then we have to make a revolution in our own lives, in our own habits, in our own discipline, in our own understanding. And as Gandhi said, become the change you want to see in this world. Become the change you want to see in this world.
Be the change.
Be the change. Okay, be the change you want to see in this world. There is a story of a man. Actually, it says that unknown monk has told this story. He said, when I was young, I wanted to change the world. Then I saw the world is too big. Then I decided to change my country. Then that was also too big. Then I decided to change my city. Then this was also too much. Then I tried to change my family. And I wasn't able to change them. So now I'm on my deathbed, lamenting that I didn't work on myself. I'm trying to change others, and if I would work on myself, change myself, I would be able to influence my family, family would influence the city, city would influence the country, and country might have changed the world. So he did the opposite of what he understood at the time of his death that he should have done to actually change himself first. So revolution starts with ourselves, and revolution is such an exciting word. It describes a very significant change, sometimes radical change. And if we look at revolutions in the material world, we see that, new politicians come, they make a revolution, kick out the old guys, and they do the same thing. So therefore we need a spiritual revolution, because all material revolutions, they just accomplish the same result. Nothing changes. But if we do a spiritual revolution based on the spiritual success principles from the Bhagavad Gita, then actually people will be taken care of more nicely. So who can do a spiritual revolution? Somebody who is a trusted authority. that person can do a spiritual revolution. So all the 5 parts of the seminar were preparing us to actually be able to take part in this great mission of Krishna consciousness, which is bringing about a revolution in the misguided lives of people. It made a revolution in our own life. We changed so much, and now there is an opportunity to make a revolution in the lives of others, to help other people to become inspired, to bring about change in their lives. Now, when you do any kind of a mission or a revolution, then it's a very exciting project, and then you can be very creative. You can think about things, how to do it, how to give Krishna consciousness to this person, that person, this kind of a character, and you become very creative. You become excited how to accomplish the project or the goals within the project, and you work with others. If you do a revolution, it's very difficult to do it alone, so you have to cooperate with others. So you become a team player. You become a trusted authority yourself, but then you work with other trusted authorities, other trusted people, build trust, and you just not work alone anymore. I mean, you work with others, and the more people are engaged, then the more you can achieve the real change, and you can achieve the real revolution. Just before I came here, a friend sent me a link on the YouTube of some very interesting video where there is something happening on a hill. There is a bunch of young people sitting on a hill and watching. I don't know what they're watching, but they're just sitting on a hill, relaxing, sunbathing. And then one guy started to dance. And then there is a voice which explains the principles of leadership. So one guy started to dance, and then another guy actually joined him. Nobody would join him. He was just dancing alone. But as soon as one person joined him, then others started to think, maybe I can join too.
Was there music?
There was no music. There was just a voice explaining the leadership, how he actually took a lead. He took initiative to lead people into this movement, into this dance. So dancing leadership. And so he started to dance, and he looked weird, and some people were thinking, what is he doing? This is weird, It's more cool to just sit down. And then second guy joined him. Now it wasn't exactly the same. Actually, the second guy was a bridge between him and everybody else. Because now there is a chance that the third guy and fourth guy and fifth guy join, because he's not alone anymore. So now other people started joining, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like 100 or maybe more than 100 people joined. So in the beginning it was not cool to participate, it was cool to just watch, and at the end it was not cool to not participate. So he led all these people into a big dance. He created a new atmosphere, a new action. So similarly, every one of us can become an agent of change in our own environments, in our own communities, or wherever, institutions, families. And in the beginning you do something and it looks weird. Like if you want to start to develop a giving culture, we spoke about giving yesterday, and you start to give, and you start to be, for example, one thing that sometimes people object about me, they say you are too positive. You always see the good and speak too positively, and they look a little bit at the negative things. Let us lament a little bit, let us complain and blame people. I'm fed up with positivity. It's too much. So, in the beginning, it's a little strange because we are not accustomed to be positive. We are not accustomed to like have a giving culture, things like that. So in the beginning it's strange, but as you do it more and more, some other people join you, they start to like it, and gradually it becomes a whole new culture. It becomes a whole new culture. I remember in Croatia, I was giving a seminar how to answer a phone in the temple. Because devotees, they pick up the phone, they say, "What?" Or they say, "Huh?" Or they say something weird. So I was teaching them to have a standard way of answering. Center for Vedic Studies, how can I help you? Standard, everybody has to do like this. So now, after the seminar, they started picking up the phone and remembering. And especially if I am around the reception, they are looking up, Center for Vedic Studies. How can I help you? Otherwise, by the old habit, they would maybe say, what do you want, or something which is not standard and it's not so cultured, I would say. And gradually it became part of the culture of that center. And I think still today, if you call them, it's Zagreb, if you call them, I think you will get similar response, although these people were not on my seminar, who are now there. It was many years ago, like maybe 15 years ago. So when you start to change, it looks weird, but then it becomes a trend. Some strange things are happening and becoming a trend, becoming a fashion. Like, for example, in England, I don't know, maybe other countries, but in England, men started wearing their trousers low. And I asked my daughter, where is this coming from? And she said, this is from the builders. You know the builders, the zidari, kako se kaže? Masons? Yeah, from them. They wear it like this, and now some boys and some people started wearing it like this, and now everybody is wearing low, and it's just almost gone. Yeah, I mean, the trousers. So this such a weird thing is becoming. Somebody took a lead with this. Somebody took a lead, and it's becoming an amazing fashion that even big film stars wear trousers like this, or music stars wear trousers like this. And it started with somebody starting imitating the Masons. So if such weird things can become a trend, then good things can become a trend. Good habits, spiritual habits. Even what we do in chanting Hare Krishna, and even sometimes people imitate the clothes also, our clothes. Sometimes there was one collection, fashion collection for the summer, 2007, some famous Italian designer, and he had a men's summer clothes exactly like a pujari, like a devotee, shaved head. There was no sika, but shaved head, looked exactly like a devotee, just tilak was missing. Kurta, long kurta, and then some cloth and sandals. It's amazing. So Krishna consciousness can become a fashion also, especially in the free thinking Amsterdam. But if we are convinced that we should take responsibility to actually spread that culture of Krishna consciousness, that this culture is very good for everyone, then I think slowly people will pick it up. And sometimes people, I have weird experiences. I tell people good afternoon and they say Hare Krishna. And I'm trying to be not to
Normal.
Yeah, normal. Not to kind of burn them or shock them with some weird, strange Indian or Sanskrit words. But they already know that they say Hare Krishna. So if we are not, we don't feel uncomfortable with our own Krishna consciousness and kind of culture, then we will be able to inspire other people. And Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness will conquer the world by a cultural conquest, cultural victory.
What is this?
What?
What is this cultural victory?
That we are going to conquer the world through the cultural to the culture. Achieve victory over the world through the culture. So culture of Krishna consciousness is so nice. And you can actually help that to happen. Sometimes devotees are ashamed or they feel strange in the public when they are dressed like this or when they have beads and things like that. Like sometimes devotees use clickers so that people don't think that this guy is weird because he has a bead bag. And or they hide it or something. Of course, if you are in the countries where it is dangerous, you should hide it, or you should use a clicker. But here you can do anything you like. There's all kinds of weirdness. And so when I chant on the public transport, and I notice that somebody is looking at my beads, I don't take it away. I actually know that they're very curious to see what is inside. So I take the beads and then just do like this. So they can very clearly see that it's beads, and sometimes they approach me and say, "What are you doing? What is this?" And then I start...
No gun.
Huh?
It's no gun.
It's not?
It's not a gun inside your
right.
bead bag.
Yeah, or anything weird. Like, they sometimes say, "Have you hurt your hand?" or something. So it's an opportunity to actually show, open up. Then they ask, "What is this?" And then, "What is this?" If you have tilak, and what is this? What is the sika? So
why the sika is needed? This one. What is meaning this?
you can ask me this when we have come to the questions. You can write it down. Cultural Krishna consciousness can be a platform for developing a spiritual revolution in the society. So if for revolution, you can't do revolution like, of course there is peaceful revolutions, but you have to be very determined to do a revolution. You have to have some passion, some drive. Even if it's a peaceful revolution, you have to be so determined, so strong. So for revolution, you cannot be a mommy's boy. You have to be a spiritual warrior. And of course, again, to be a high-class warrior, you have to train every day. You have to practice. I heard something so amazing from a friend, a devotee from America. She's senior, a coach. She said, I heard in martial arts that the teacher, the master, always practices more than any of his disciples, his students. Always practices more. So whatever we teach people, if we teach people to read, we should read a lot. If we teach people to chant, we should chant a lot. If we teach people to take prasadam, we should take prasadam. Not too much. We take little and tell them to eat a lot. You can reverse it in that case, but other things you have to do more than others. So, and then your word, because you are teaching by example, your word becomes very, very strong. You stand behind your words. You practice what you preach. Achar, prachar. If you want to influence people, then first you have to become an amazing example. If you want to influence people, you need to really, really care and show it. And when they are convinced, then they will be open up to your influence. So everybody has a free will. We respect people's free will. If you don't want Krishna, that's okay. It's your choice. I'm sorry you don't want to have it, because you can get benefited so much, but I can't force you. But whoever wants it, we are here to help. We are here to support them, to teach them, to guide them, to show care. And people will actually take initiative themselves. People need you as a leader. Now when I say this, and you may say, that's not true. I mean, I'm such a bad guy, or so unqualified. How can I can't lead even myself. how can I lead others? But actually, if you see your role a bit differently in life, if you see that you can be a representative of God, you can be a trusted authority, that your role can be much more significant, you can be an instrument in Lord's hands, then what's happening in that situation? Can somebody tell them to be softer, to speak softer? So what is happening in that situation? In that situation, you're putting yourself into a situation where you have to advance, where you have to have better standards. Where, like for example, if I give a public statement, from tomorrow I will never get angry. And then you watch me. And then in 1 month, somebody will come and check if I have gotten angry. So you basically publicly expose yourself because you want to force yourself to be better, to advance. This is why taking responsibility is good. It's like putting little fish in a bigger aquarium and then it can grow. So this position, this role that you take of responsibility, it forces you to be more, to advance, to change, to improve. It's a very, very nice system. It's given by God. Taking responsibility, taking a leadership. And then you can be an agent of change or a revolutionary. There were so many revolutions in this world, and some people who made a revolution, they were actually amazing people. They did amazing things. Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. But the revolution that we can implement is much bigger than all these revolutions, because it's much deeper, and this knowledge comes directly from God, and it actually will help people achieve the highest results. So now you may say, okay, I agree with you. I think it makes sense what you say. How do I start? How do I start? My recommendation is start anywhere, go everywhere. Start small. Start wherever you are and it will expand. The way I started my Gita coaching service was actually in 2001. And I didn't start with Gita coaching. I started being something else. I came to London Temple, and Temple President said, I appreciate what you do, but I need something else. Can you be like an executive secretary? Can you learn English and type letters? And I said, okay. And I started working, but whenever there was an opportunity, I would do some coaching or counseling or teaching. And he knew that I like to do that, and I had experience. But of course, he didn't object when I would engage in this. But mostly, I was doing this administrative work, and then gradually it shifted. More people work, less administration. More people work, less administration. So by the year 2008, I think it was like 80-20. The ratio, and then by the year 2009 I was 100% working with people and 0 administration. And I was still paid the same wage. So somehow Krishna mercifully helped me to actually do this service, but it started small and then expanded, and Krishna sees our desire. And then in 2009 I started traveling. And then now it's 120%. 120% of doing that service that I like to do. So you can, if you define what you want to do, and then you can expand it, you can get good at it. Basically, you can make a small revolution and it can become a big revolution. Now, some things that are happening in regard to Gita coaching is that some devotees from other continents, they want to actually develop it and become Gita coaches. And like in South America we have now, there is a Facebook page called Gita Espiritual Coaching. Then in Australia there is few devotees who really, I started yesterday, I started training one devotee in Gita coaching principles. So it's expanding, and I believe if people do this, it can help a lot to actually help the mission of Krishna consciousness and the revolution. And it's all about success principles of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is the best success book, and this book is bringing about revolution in people's lives. It brought about a revolution in our life, and it can bring about revolution in other people's lives. People buy the Gita, people have the Gita, devotees have the Gita, they put it on a shelf and don't read it. And then they think, I know the Gita, and when they come to a second chapter verse, they think it's boring. But actually, we have not realized these verses. Second chapter is such an amazing, it's a summary of the whole Gita. It's such it should be studied whole year, not only 1 week or something. It's an amazing chapter. It has so many, if you just learn the second chapter, you will become such an expert that I think people will invite you on the TV, you will go for the newspaper interviews, you could be able to give talks. Only one chapter, second chapter of the Gita. It's called Contents of the Gita Summarized. So this book is so rich, this book is pure gold, but the problem is we don't read it, we don't apply it. Sometimes we read it, but we are not sure how to apply it. So this is where Gita coaching comes and helps. If you want a revolution in your life, then please understand that Bhagavad Gita is full of success principles, and these success principles can bring about revolution. So, I wish you all the best on your journey. Thank you for attending. Some of you will be coming for all the sessions, and maybe next time we can have more discussion or longer sessions and more exercises. But if you have my email. And if you want to email me, and if you need any kind of resources for your spiritual and professional success, I have a lot of resources. I have like 150 gigabytes of materials, text, audio, also video. Video is not easy to send, but audio I can send somehow, upload it somewhere. And I'm ready to share all this for free with you. And if you need any assistance on your journey, I'm available for one-to-one sessions on the internet, or while I'm here also face-to-face. And I hope I can contribute to your life and help you with your success. And I wish you all the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we have a few more minutes for some questions, if you have. And we can take time until 8. We have about 10 minutes for questions, so you can ask some questions.
I have a question from yesterday.
Yeah.
When there is when the soul is back to the God, to Krishna, does she has the soul? Does it has a mind yet?
You always have a mind. Soul has a mind.
Always.
Yeah.
So in the heavenly kingdom, in this spiritual world, back of when you are back, you still have mind.
Yeah.
So you still have wishes. You still have
Thinking, feeling, and willing.
Feeling and willing.
Yes.
Yeah?
So you think, as a soul you can think, you can feel definitely, and you can desire.
Desire.
Yeah, the soul has all these functions, but the difference is they are pure.
They are the same as God. What wish the God, desire of soul is the same as desire of God.
Yes.
So indeed, and what about character?
Character.
Yeah.
You have a high character, spiritual.
Yeah, but when you are back to the God, is your character the same as God's character?
Well, you have a character of a devotee. You don't think you're God.
No. But if you want to be back at God in spiritual spiritual life. So what kind of character you have to develop?
You have to read Nectar of Devotion. There is a description in the Nectar of Devotion that we have 78% of the qualities of God. So you have some qualities of God, but not all. But that is enough that you serve Him with pure love, which is the purpose of your existence. You understand?
Pure love is the purpose of my existence.
Pure love. Service with pure love. Oh, that's the purpose of your existence. You have been made by God to serve Him with love. But you left Him and now you can go back to Him. Okay? Next.
What is meaning this? Level pain.
Sika.
Sika.
Can you explain? No. It's a sign of renunciation. Then they say that the God takes you by the Sika to get you out of the material world. Then actually we should have like a shaved head, but we don't always have a shaved head. What else about Sika? Sometimes they say that yogis have their power in the hair, so it's also like you keep. Actually, it just unties, but I should keep it tied. Otherwise, it says that you lose energy if it's not tied. But because my hair is dry, then it unties, and then I have to tie it again and again. And then also Mayavadis, they're actually completely shaven, but Vaishnavas, they have Sika. That used to make also difference between Mayavadis and devotees.
Personal, something personal.
Personal,
Yeah.
Yes.
And it requires
There is, Srila Prabhupada explains it, I have to look, do you have email address?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can write me on this address and
I will definitely do
I will
it.
find you Prabhupada's explanation about Sika and other devotees' explanation, and you will have even better explanation. But I think it's similar to what I said, but maybe you will get something more. Okay. Anything else?
I just wanted to say something, it's not a question.
Okay.
Very short of an experience,
Mhm.
which is related to this topic of these days I've joined.
To which topic?
Regarding positivity.
Okay.
I have had an experience like direct spiritual experience with God, with Krishna, and it was mentioned that there is a bridge between the earth and the paradise, the Hema. And the bridge was positivity. So if it comes, even, how you say, a disaster, and you see a disaster coming, look at it with positive eyes if you can.
Mhm.
If you look at everything positive, that is the bridge between Hema and the Ada,
Okay.
between the earth and the paradise.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to share that it was like direct experience coming from Krishna, it was really amazing. And exactly like, how you say it, bevestigen? Like
Confirmation.
confirming the strength of positivity, how important it is.
Right. It's very difficult to be positive if you're not spiritual, if you're not God conscious, because this world is temporary, everything will dissolve, and how can you be positive? But if you understand that you're eternal and that God is eternal, that He is our well-wisher, then you can be unlimitedly positive. Okay, yes?
May I ask something? I think about chapter 13, but I'm not sure from Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Could you explain what That means about Krishna's form, something about terrible teeth and his universal form.
You read the Gita.
Yeah?
In the Gita it is described that all these forms, Krishna is everything. So in the universal form, all kinds of forms of living entities were manifest, both demigods and demons. So terrible teeth, I think it refers to the demons because they have teeth. And you have seen the picture also.
I kind of skipped the pictures.
Yeah, okay, and the picture, in the picture you can see how they are. So everything is Krishna's energy. In one sense, Krishna is everything. So these manifestations of Krishna's energy, which appear like that, as demons, these people, they have terrible teeth. When he showed the universal form, then all kinds of forms appeared. Beautiful demigods, incarnations, Vishnu forms, so many, and also demons. So everything is Krishna's energy, everything belongs to Krishna. So this is what I can say about the terrible teeth.
And also I want to say about the example and responsibility that today we have so many famous people, celebrities. By now the world could have been a different place if they took any responsibility, because they do nothing or give bad examples. And if we had at least a little bit better examples, then it would be different.
But what if Krishna comes to you and says, I want you to take a lead, to show by example? Huh?
I'm ready.
You're ready?
Yeah.
And what if Krishna asks me to tell you that?
Okay.
And I can also help you with that, because I help devotees who, especially who wants to take responsibility. I'm so excited to help such devotees. So if you have a project that you're excited about, then I can assist you to develop it and to...
I have a project also.
What?
I have a project which I want to do.
You also have a project?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, that's part of my service, to help devotees with their goals, with their projects. And if you agree that Krishna can use me, Krishna can use me to do anything. I just have to agree to become an instrument and do the right thing. Then, you never know what Krishna can accomplish through you. You never know. He can do amazing things through you if you are a pure instrument. So I say, start anywhere, go everywhere. Start small, start with anything. People tell me, oh, it's impossible, I would like to do this and this and that, but it's impossible. And then I have like 50 quotes by Prabhupada. He says everything is possible. And he explains how everything is possible. So when you read these quotes, your head is never the same again. Because you start to believe that everything is possible. So that's actually, thank you for kind of bringing me to this point, speaking about this, that one thing in regard to revolution that I actually should speak when I speak about revolution is that everything is possible and that Krishna can help you do anything. Prabhupada says everything is possible. I remember a few. By God's mercy, with love, by austerity, by sacrifice. If you get blessings of Vaishnavas, if you're determined, these are 6, but there is more. There is more. How everything is possible.
Austerity or something?
Austerity. You know what is austerity?
No.
Parents.
Dutch. In Dutch.
Boetedoening.
Buddha.
Boetedoening.
You understand?
No.
No.
What is your language?
Polish.
Polish.
Strogosti.
Strogosti.
Oh.
Who is Polish? Who is Russian?
Strogosti.
Strog-
Наверное, это
Pokore.
To be.
How you say in Bulgarian?
I'm Dutch. I don't know.
No, I asked him behind you. How you say in Bulgarian?
Отречение, покаяние.
Pokayanie? You understand something? Anyway, austerity, and then you look and Google Translator to tell you in Polish.
To take some unpleasant things voluntarily.
Voluntarily accept unpleasant or difficult things for a higher purpose. Yeah. Like for example, we fast on Janmashtami because in this way we do extra sacrifice for Krishna. And we chant more and eat less. And then in the evening we eat too much. So, I mean, like you may say austerity is to come to the temple when it's raining. So you go and take an umbrella and it's cold, but you are determined to go to the temple. Okay, so we can stop here. Thank you very much. Good luck. Tomorrow we have
Friday.
On Saturday. Saturday we have a concert here, 6 to 8. I will play more songs with you. We will sing together. And then on Sunday there is a
Just 1 second. Tomorrow is Friday.
Yeah.
no, on Saturday is a concert, and tomorrow is Harinam?
Tomorrow is Bhajan night here. 6
Bhajan night. Yeah, you come. Please come for the Bhajan night. We will sing together. And Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaura ki jai. Akrura Amsterdam ki jai. Como que sentes mal participar aqui nas atividades?
Ok. Schlimm.